Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here on the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Jennie Bellinger, your direct sales dom, helping you whip your business into shape. Today, I have a really fun guest with me. Her name is Lynne Dominick. And Lynne and I met through my friend and one of the previous podcast guests. If you guys remember Chris Kissel, who talked about her network marketing business, she introduced me to Lynne. And Lynne has this really cool assessment called human design. And what she does is she takes this human design system and she uses it to bring the development and leadership skills that she mastered in her publishing world into her own team building, coaching, and mentoring practice. And she uses this human design in order to take a look at who people are and be able to really maximize their strengths and help them identify areas for improvement, or at least figuring out how they can shore up their weaknesses. So Lynne, welcome to the show.
Oh, Jennie, thank you so much. I am thrilled to be here. Jennie and I, met on an actual Zoom workshop that I did for some of Chris's closest friends and colleagues a few months ago. And, she generously reached out and said, Lynne, I'd love you to be on my podcast because I really enjoy what you're talking about and see it having a real application for those of us who, are in the network marketing space or who follow and help people who are in the network marketing space. So it's really delightful to be here. Thank you so much, Jennie.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad because you're absolutely right. When a couple of years ago, or actually right near the beginning of the pandemic. So man, we're already 18 months into that at the time of this recording.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to have someone do my human design, but they were brand new at it and they were still learning it. And I didn't really understand everything that happened with it. So when Chris mentioned that you were doing this workshop of teaching people what human design is and how it can impact your life and really understanding who you are, I was just like, all right, I need to know more. So I attended the workshop and I learned so much. And it's something that I'm sure that if I spent more time working on learning, developing, it would be even more beneficial to me. But let's tell everybody, Lynne. So first of all, how did you get into human design? And then we'll talk about what human design is. So how did you fall into it?
Of course. Well, as you mentioned, Jennie, I did have a fantastic and wonderfully rewarding career in corporate management in the publishing industry. So I managed sales teams at Elle Magazine, at Self Magazine, at InStyle Magazine, and we had award-winning teams. I always look at it as part of the collective, but I love the fact that I was able to mentor and motivate and really see amazing results with my team. But the publishing industry has dramatically changed. So I was on the print side, and all of a sudden, the way magazines were delivered was changing. People were talking about digital delivery. And all of a sudden, when you talk about digital delivery, everything changed from the amount of magazines that were going to be printed to the eyeballs that were going to be seeing them to what you could charge for the cost of advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And that changed the whole model. It changed the payment system. It changed the way they looked at salespeople. So for me, I understood that somewhere along the line, the runway was going to run out for me in this industry that I had a stake in the ground in for over 2 decades.
Wow.
And even though I was upset about that, I understood it wasn't going to be the way it was. And that necessitated me to really look at what I wanted to do and figure out a way that I could continue to work, because it's not an option for me not to work. I love working with people. I love working. I love keeping relevant. It's just something, retirement for me is something that still provides me a life that is really includes so much. So taking work out of that pie, it wasn't going to work. So but what I wanted is something I could do on my own terms and something that would provide me great joy. So I looked at the skill set that I had working with people, being a good mentor, being a good motivator, having a strong vision, putting myself in another person's shoes in terms of having someone who could develop their sales skills based on what you were selling to benefit others, not for your own benefit. So all those things led me to really kind of become a webinar zombie. I watched every webinar on the internet to figure out what I wanted to do next, because I knew there was going to be a message in there. Everybody was talking about starting a business and what they could offer and what they could do. And here's 50 minutes on how to do this better. And here's 50 minutes on how to build a mailing list. And it goes on. One of those webinars was on the subject of human design. And when I watched that webinar, even though I said while I was watching it, I am not signing up for any complimentary call. I'm putting this out of my mind. I've done too many of these. By the end of that webinar, I had not only signed up for a complimentary call, I had already made the decision that I probably would be open to taking it one step further, because I was so interested. And the reason why I was interested is because human design is all about getting to your true, authentic self. And I had seen, just in what they revealed in the webinar, it made sense to me that we are constantly being bombarded with messages and influence from other people. And that can change who we are, how we think, how we approach things, how we end up living. May not be who we really are. And what I loved about human design is the fact that it got to the basics. It wasn't the end all and the be all, but it was kind of the beginning, because it took you back to a place before conditioning, to a place where you couldn't communicate yet, to your childhood, when how you communicated was through your gut. You told your parents, or That didn't come from constant messages in your mind. It came from a visceral response to what somebody was telling you, or what they were giving you to eat, or putting you to bed. You made it known through your energetic feelings how you felt. And you did it not by saying, oh, I don't want to do that, Mom. You did it by saying, or So going back to that really kind of primal energy is what human design is all about. And the reason why it still excites me as much today, probably a lot more than that original webinar, is because we are so out of alignment with who we are. From, this recently in the news, you've had somebody really kind of describing the algorithm on Facebook. And within 4 days, you are receiving messages that take you deep into a certain place based on how many likes you give to a post that somebody else has posted. So this kind of thing, and, I'm not saying it's mind control, but it is something that is subliminally working in terms of messaging for us every time we're on social media. So how much is us and how much is them? And what human design does is it shows you how your energy is laid out at birth, and that energy that's laid out at birth will be the same energy and how it's projected out till the day you die. The difference is how you manage it. How much is yours? How much do you let in the messages from others? And how aligned are you to your specific human design type? And when you're talking about network marketing, you are talking about a field that is set up, and I understand why it is, because I've been in network marketing and know a lot of people who are. I understand that it's just easier to control a large group by giving them a specific way of doing things. And yes, that way of doing things has been beneficial for many, many people. So why rewrite the script? Because if you've had all this success, why go back and do it? Well, not everybody has that level of success, because it takes them out of their authentic selves. It takes them into a place where they may not be aligned. So somebody may come back and say, Jenny, this is just not working for me. I give the script, I call. Well, perhaps it's because they're way out of alignment. So let's go back and start from the beginning so I can explain, now that you've got these listeners probably thinking, well, what is this thing called human design? So human design is a personal growth expansion tool based on your birth information. So it is a synthesis of Eastern and Western astrology, of the Hindu chakra system, of the I Ching, of the Kabbalah, and last but not least, and the thing that excites me most about human design, quantum physics. So Einstein, over a century ago, talked about the fact that we are all energy.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, we are all energy. I mean, we are energetic beings. We vibrate at a certain frequency. Nikola Tesla, he said, if you want to find out the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So there is probably not any astrophysicist around today who would question those two statements. It is being totally accepted as, yes, we are energy. Yes, we all vibrate at a certain vibration. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to keep that vibration in a place where we have as less resistance, as little resistance as possible, so we can get into flow. So this system takes all those personal growth tools into consideration. It's the melding and synthesis of them, and it gives you something called your birth chart, which lays out not 7 chakras as in the Hindu chakra system, but 9, and how your energy flows within that. And from there are 5 human design archetypes. So in astrology, there are 12 based, on the signs of the zodiac. For human design, there are 5. There is something called the manifester, the generator, the manifesting generator, the projector, and the reflector. So there are 5 types. So each of these 5 types are extremely distinctive. And a projector is a guide and a teacher. A manifester is an initiator and an innovator. So if a projector tries to do the role of a manifester, it's not necessarily going to be the most effective way of using their energy. So I can just say that in terms of how it helps somebody in network marketing, even if you didn't know anything else and you just knew the basics, the 5 types and the natural flow for that type. So you'd be in alignment, and the challenges, if you were out of alignment, would be a great starting point. And then from there, each one of those types has a strategy to follow in terms of how you propel your energy, how you respond to things, how you respond most effectively in the workplace, in the people who you have relationships with, in the way you parent your children. So think about that in the context of network marketing.
Oh, yeah, because there's so many different aspects of it, because you've got your upline leader, you've got the people who are sidelined to you and how you interact with them, your own team, all these different archetypes. Plus,
and then your base, your customer base.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this wonderful key that unlocks your energy in a way that you can most effectively communicate and really navigate your business, and how you work with your upline, how you work with your downline, how you work with your customers. So it's really fascinating. And I want to do more of those workshops like I did with Chris's group, because I think it's a wonderful way for a group to know, maybe we can really interact a little bit differently and up the effectiveness of our team to not only have 1 or 2 get to the next level of their business, but to really see all of us move up, sell more product, get more bonuses, and really shine. So I love doing it. And I love the one-on-ones, it's something, Jenny, it's fun.
Well, it's fun. No. And here's the thing. It really is, because I want the listener right now to think of a time when they've gone through, because let's all raise our virtual hands on this one. How many of us have gone to one of those online personality quizzes, surveys, assessments, or whatever, which Disney princess are you, right? Like, we've all done those, and they're
right. I have to be so white.
Right. And we think they're fun. They're so much fun, but and so imagine now if you not only get the fun, but you get the benefit of learning how to really take who you really and truly are, get in alignment with that version of you so that you can go ahead and, achieve the goal or goals that you have been setting for yourself forever that have just eluded you since the beginning of your business. So let's start with talking about, okay, so you already brought up the fact that human design has a little bit of the chakras and a little bit of astrology. What really makes human design different from like traditional astrology, numerology, all of those things?
I think basically it is the energetic component, because it goes back to the fact that our energy is specifically laid out in our body, in our chakras, in either a fixed way or an open way. And just think of this Okay, so say you have these 9 chakras starting at the top of your head. Then you have one picture that would be your face. So one would be just the crown of your head, then your face, then your throat. Under that, right in the middle. Now your heart's really not in the middle. Your heart's to the left. So in the middle, then you've got something right at the solar plexus, then a root. Then on the left side, you've got your heart center. And then you've got your solar plexus. And then on the right side, you've got a chakra representing your spleen. So that's how the 9 lay out. And they all have different connections, starting with the head, which is all about inspiration. Then you go lower to the one that would be at your face, which is all about concepts and ideas. Then your throat.
Would that be expression too?
No, your throat's the expression. Your throat is the communication.
Okay.
Then after that is your identity. Under that is your life force, and then your root, which is all about stress and anxiety. Then your heart center, which is about your will and your self-esteem. Your solar plexus, which is the seat of your emotions. And then your spleen, which is about your physical sense of survival and instinct. So in someone's chart, everyone has 9 centers. That does not vary. What does vary is if they are open or if they're fixed. And that will never change. Open centers are exactly what they are. They're open. They're getting responses, energetic vibrations, influences from other people. When they are fixed, it's more or less you are becoming the influencer. You send out those signals. You are able to propel that energy in a way that is palpable to someone. So this continues. What you want to do is, if you have an open center, you want to manage your energy in a way that you take in the great and the good and the inspiration and the self-esteem and the motivation from others, but you don't want to become the living being that somebody else wanted you to be. You want to be able to not allow to be conditioned by others. And you do that through your strategy and authority. It's a simplistic but difficult to manage situation because of how we interact with people and how we are so dependent on others for all of our interactions. When we stopped seeing people in person, we became dependent on the internet to give us relationships through Zooms and video chats and FaceTimes and Marco Polo and all those things. So there is still the dependency. We probably watch television more, constantly being bombarded with messages there and that influence. We were probably on Facebook more, getting those algorithms that take you out of who you are and kind of take you on a path that has you become someone else. So with human design, it's all about getting to that authentic place. So you could download a human design chart. There are many sites that have the software where you can put in your birth information and look at it. But to get the most out of human design, you want to have somebody guide you through what it means. It's like going to the gym and getting on a very expensive piece of new equipment without a trainer. Can you do it? Oh, yeah, of course. Is it necessarily the best use of your time? Are you going to be able to do it right? Perhaps you're going to take it the wrong way and end up with a little bit of an injury. So you want to have guidance in terms of the complex system of human design and how you can get the best out of it.
Absolutely. Because like I said, the first human design reading I had was somebody who was really new in learning how to read the chart that comes out from it. And I really didn't understand what everything was that was coming out of it. But then when you explained it in that workshop, it was really helpful to go, oh, that's what that means. Oh, that's what that means, So, I don't want to give away all of the information, because then people go, well, why should I, right?
But what you want to do is and I have a lot of tools, obviously, on my website that are available for free and keep adding, and on my Instagram too, Lynne Dominick HD, and Lynn has an E at the end and Dominic has a K at the end. So LynneDominickHD.com or Lynne Dominick HD on Instagram. It'll take you to download my freebie where you could learn all about human design.
Perfect. I was just going to ask about that. So that led perfectly right into that, because so Badass Crew, make sure that as long as you're not driving, grab your phone, because most of us listen to our podcasts on our phone. Grab your phone, click on the episode, and scroll up into the show notes, and you'll see the link that goes directly to Lynn's website, LynneDominickHD.com. And as she said, it's Lynn with an Lynne. Dominick is DOMINICK hd.com. And so you're going to click on that link, go check out. She's got a guide to human design that is absolutely free, so you can take a look. And then if this is something that interests you, reach out to Lynn and see about getting your own human design consultation to see who you are, which archetype you are. Are you fixed? Are you open? What are you going to need to be in alignment in your business, in your life, with what's going on around you? And I also want to point out, Lynn, the importance of also having the human design for your partner done at the same time, right? Because
or your child, either one. That because I'm working with two people now. One is doing one with her partner, and the other is doing one for one of her children. One of her children, I was able to look at this chart even before we had even the preliminary conversation and understand that this was an extraordinarily gifted child. But because of the way the energy was laid out in his chart, I knew he was extremely vulnerable to having trouble staying focused. And that is what they are experiencing. So we're working in tandem now to try and get to a place where they understand his rebellious nature ahead of time, and they can get to a point, because he does have a vulnerability in self-esteem, to include him in on decision-making processes that they know are going to boost his self-esteem. And it's fascinating. And then the couples chart is also fascinating, because a couple very often you can look at it and you can see where, I understand where one is having a hard time understanding the other. I can understand this. And yes, just because that person does not have that same energy level as you, they are not lazy. It's just they're coming from a very different place. So it's fascinating. But I would also encourage anybody who really goes to the website and wants to know more and has an idea, even obscure, on, hey, can you do this with one of the people in my network marketing team? Sure. I am open to all of it. And I understand the nuances of network marketing and the fact that It is hard to do a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Human design is totally the antithesis of one size fits all. It's technically the science of differentiation. It's about honoring the uniqueness in you and the uniqueness in others. So I love that so much, Jenny, because for me, another thing we have to deal with is a society that really puts so much emphasis on us. It's always about us. It's not about the collective us. It's always about me, or I. But when you look at human design, you start to think, well, yeah, they don't respond. She doesn't respond the same way. And, I should really kind of honor her by understanding she's never going to respond in the same way. And her energy is just as important as my energy is. So it goes into the area where you are looking at someone as on your level playing field in terms of your energy, and the fact that the differences lie in the way we manage the energy and the way we are naturally inclined and aligned. So I love that aspect. It really just gives, if more people really thought about how other people are going to respond and really treat them with that same level and listen to them. Human design also teaches you very much to listen to others and to, for many of us in human design, wait to respond. There's only one of the archetypes where they don't have to wait to respond. They could just take the ball and roll with it. But that's only 9% of the population. So when you think about the other 91, they're all supposed to be waiting to respond. And how many of us really do that? We're jumping ahead with everything. And that's not the way we should really be managing our energy. So,
man, now I want to know which one doesn't have to wait.
Manifester. They're 9% of the world's population that really can initiate and innovate. They don't need to wait to hear something, to have somebody ask them a question, to read an article and do something. They can just do something. And they are traditionally, throughout history, the rulers and innovators of society. So good and bad.
Right. Exactly. Because
Mao Zedong, they were manifestors. They certainly didn't wait.
Oh, say those names again.
Adolf Hitler and Mao Zedong.
Mm-hmm.
So they, it's a very, if there's anyone who's a manifestor who's listening, please don't be offended. But they are the natural rulers. And there is obviously there's a sense of the authoritarian to someone who does rule. And they set the rules. They don't make they make the rules. They don't follow the rules. So they are that, and Martha Stewart is to me, I use her as a perfect example of a manifestor, extraordinarily innovative, setting the rules for her company, going forward, forging, having millions upon millions of people follow her ideas, her tips, her creativity. So manifestors are really, they're fabulous people, but they've been traditional rulers because they have tremendous power and tremendous magnetism. People pay attention to manifestors. And then there's what you and I are, which is a manifesting generator, which is a hybrid of the generator, which are the worker bees of society, and the creative force of the manifestor. So we are both. We are, the kings and queens of shiny object syndrome. We are extraordinarily multi-passionate, and there's nothing we don't want to do, say yes to. We want to be involved. We want to put our fingers in every single pie. So
I'm feeling really called out right now, Lynn, because you're so right.
I'm the queen of the shiny object syndrome. And this, I will tell you, Jenny, what I am talking about at this very second was what hit me like a ton of bricks when I had my human design chart read. It was like, oh my God, of course, that's exactly who I am. And you know what? I don't have to be ashamed of that. That's who I am. I can't be anything else. There's no way I could ever not have shiny object syndrome. This is the way my energy is laid out. I'm going to have all these multi-passions, and I'm going to want to be involved in all of it. So that was what hit home the most. It was like, oh my God, you were describing exactly who I am, exactly what people don't understand about me. And the fact that I don't have to apologize one bit for it. So it's like have these chains totally ripped off because I could totally be myself. I think that if I were to go and examine all the manifesting generators, 99.9% of them would have ADHD. That's just kind of who we are. It's just when you can't turn that energy off because we have this fixed energy in our life force chakra, and it just keeps us going. And we have what we call the motor to the throat that also sets us apart. And when you have a motor to the throat, you talk, you are an effective communicator. So I look at you doing a podcast and say, I couldn't think of anything more perfect for a manifesting generator.
Oh yeah. Blogging, not so much. You want me to sit down and write? Ugh.
You know what so anyways, now that you say that, so all the offerings, we've been working on my website and getting everything up there. And now comes okay, what are you going to do? And how are you going to make sure everybody knows who you are and where everything is? So blogging, of course, is kind of part of that. So, but with Google Voice, it's really kind of very cool. So you go to Google Docs, you open the tools, it says voice typing, and you just start talking. So for the manifesting generator, it's like the perfect tool. And then you take that information and you can kind of edit it into a blog post. But how cool is that? So
that's awesome. I love that idea. Love it. Well, Lynn, I want to thank you so much, number one, for coming and sharing this with people. Cause I feel like this is an area that will help people who are really trying to understand more about themselves, how this, and then learn how to harness who they are to achieve their goals in life rather than trying to fight it and rein in who you are, but actually step into it. Because once you know who you are, the power that comes with that, the ability to create the success in life that you've been dreaming of becomes so much easier. It's less of a struggle, and it feels more like a flow, would be my guess.
There is no question about it. I was just thinking before you said that. Here we're talking about the different types, and it's so much fun to know about it. But think about it in the context of you are starting to realize the power that rests within you when your energy is aligned. What does that mean? So it means who you are. It also means using this amazing energy to your advantage in how you operate every day, in the messages that you're able to hear and respond to, in the conversations that you're able to have with your peers, with your boss. Your connections are better. You have a better understanding. Things just flow better. You have a better vision about where you want to go and how to avoid things that take you out of that power. And you do that by knowing your type, following your strategy, and then using your authority, which we didn't even talk about. And
we'll get to that on another conversation, Lynn, because this is not going to be our last one.
How best to make decisions.
Yeah.
So when you have all that working for you, think about how just those little tweaks could make a big change in your personal but also in your professional life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fascinating to me. I'm looking at, we're on the Connecticut shoreline, and they're closing businesses early because they can't get enough people to come and work. And I think there's a combination of factors going into it. But what I think the pandemic did for a lot of people, they're saying, I had that job, but now that I'm staying home with my kids, I really want to stay home with my kids. And I want to look for another way maybe to make money for that little bit of money I was making. So they're going to be looking at network marketing jobs that they can do on the internet, that they can do online. And I do think there's going to be an interest even greater than there was before in things that put people in networking and having a network marketing business. So think about using human design in that context and starting out knowing yourself and knowing things about your team that could really be so helpful. So anyway, yeah, I think that's where we are headed in a total rewind.
Oh, I agree. I mean, if you look at what was going on in the world of network marketing in early 2020, so before the pandemic hit, one of the greatest difficulties that my clients had at that time was people wanting to look at the business opportunity because the economy was good. Life was good. Everything was fine. They didn't see a need for a second or even a third stream of income. And then suddenly the whole world shut down. All of these super stable, steady jobs that they thought were going to be great disappeared overnight in some cases.
Yeah.
And network marketing, I mean, last year in 2020, multiple companies went from, barely recruiting to there were some companies that were reporting 300% growth in 90 days. There was one company that had 400% growth in 90 days based on the number of people who just,
and I see it continuing.
And it definitely is. And there's more than enough out there.
No,
there's more than enough out there.
Products. And also people, now even people in New York for the first time are relying more on internet purchases and purchasing through word of mouth on the internet rather than going out to stores as they did before, because they got used to staying home.
Yep.
They got used to not being out all the time. And it's a very different lens that we're looking through. So
absolutely. And I think by beginning to understand your human design, guys, it's really going to help you begin to also, and when you learn from Lynn about all the different archetypes and who they are and how they operate, it will also help you in those talks with people to help them make a decision if it's a good fit for them to come into network marketing, and helping them as you get to know who they are, and maybe even getting them to have their human design consultation as well, so that now you know how to support them as their leader, as the person who's bringing them in as their sponsor, to help them achieve what they're looking to achieve as well. So Lynn, thank you again for being here. I so appreciate you. I can see some collaborations happening in 2022 with the two of us.
I know. So it's because it's just, I take that whole personal fulfillment I had working in sales in the corporate to working with people outside of that. And it's just about serving in a way when you see someone succeed.
It's so fun.
It is the best feeling possible. And get that end result, that's what we work for. It's like that success. It's not one person's success. It's everybody enjoying in that success. And to
exactly. My favorite part of being a coach is celebrating when my clients, text me or message me and tell me that, hey, they hit this rank or they earned the trip or they, oh my God, I finally earned the car. And it's so fun to celebrate that. So Lynn, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Jenny. I can't wait to come back.
Oh, yeah. And Badass Crew, you guys know how this goes. Make sure you go check the show notes. Click on that link to LynneDominickHD.com to go get your guide to human design to learn more about it and to look into getting your own consultation with Lynne Dominick. And Badass Crew, also make sure you stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.